Xiaomi is betting big on the festive season and the upcoming Cricket World Cup to boost its sales, and that's the exclusive word coming in from company's India President Muralikrishnan B. In this exclusive conversation, he talks to Sumita Karir about correct pricing strategy as well as premiumization and the company's plan to double down on localization. Let's listen in.
Create a quick recap. So 5 products reinforcing our smartphone times AIoT strategy. First, the global debut of the Redmi 12 5G, a device that not only looks stunning but has the power of a 4nm processor, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 4 Gen 2 packed in, which gives the power of 5G, truly if you ask me, to the masses, because it's priced at a net effective price of just rupees 10,999 for a product with so much packed in. We are super confident this will spark a revolution. Today we also announced the launch of the Redmi 12, launch of our first smartwatch with Bluetooth calling, which is the Redmi Watch 3 Active, extensions to our Redmi Smart TV X series, and the launch of our first made in India wireless audio product, the Redmi Sonic Base Wireless Earphone 2.
Right. So Xiaomi has been quite instrumental as far as leading the 4G revolution is concerned in the country, but now you're on to the 5G bandwagon. What is going to be the product strategy? There have been murmurs that Xiaomi is planning to sort of limit its product portfolio as well. Do you want to expand a bit more on that?
So one of the key decisions we took in our 2023 strategy was to go back to some of the things that really worked well for Xiaomi, which is at every price point, you have one killer product, one compelling proposition, which makes it clean to my team, right, to the trade, to the channel, to the promoter in the store, and to the customer as to what the obvious choice in that price segment is. In fact, there is this joke goes on which says, in this price segment, take the Xiaomi phone, koi debate nahi hai. Right? It's as simple as that. And we are going back to that clean portfolio and segmenting the market, let's say 6 to 8,000, 8 to 10,000, 10 to 12, 12 to 15, 15 to 20 and above, and ensuring that we have clear propositions in each. At the entry-level segment, we have the Redmi A2, the Redmi 12C. Today we launched the Redmi 12, and then between the 10 to 15,000, in fact the 10 to 12,000, 5G now has become a compelling proposition with the Redmi 12 5G, and then you have the Redmi Note and the Redmi Note Pro series and the Xiaomi series beyond that. So at every price point, there is one Xiaomi smartphone which will definitely meet all the customers' needs and steal hearts, because we are always committed to delivering products with the best of specs, highest quality and honest pricing.
Yes, in fact, your Xiaomi 12 5G that you've launched, Redmi 12 5G that you've launched today is also the global launch that's happening in India, perhaps also underlining the fact that India is, in fact, an important market for Xiaomi then.
India has always been an important market for Xiaomi, and that definitely continues. We've done a few global first launches, global debuts in India, and today is yet another example, but even more so because, again, I would repeat, for such a compelling proposition at this price, these are the kind of things that spark revolutions, and we truly hope this sparks the 5G revolution in this country.
Right. So you're saying that this truly, you're hoping that will spark the 5G revolution in the country. And so you've also spoken about the fact that you plan to expand your offline footprint as well in India. You already have about 16,000 to 18,000 stores in the country. When you launched in the Indian market, that was sort of a first in itself. You completely turned around the marketing and sales game on its head when you introduced flash sales, for instance, on Flipkart. But now you're going big on the offline retail strategy as well. Do you want to take us through some details of that, and what's really, prompted that sort of a change in a strategy? Do you want to talk about consumer preferences, perhaps, in this respect?
Sure. While Xiaomi started as an online-focused brand, we pursued an offline growth strategy ever since 2017, and it's come a long way. Today, let's say the online-offline channel split in terms of sales for us is roughly 50-50%. But if I take a step back, the offline market contributes to almost 60% of the total smartphone market. Yes. So that's one point to consider. Number two, while we have a much stronger position, we are the market leaders in the online channel, we are not the market leaders in the offline channel, right? Offline is a larger proportion of the market, and we're not the market leaders. And if I put 2 and 2 together, it just shows me that we have significantly higher upside for growth in the offline retail channel, and hence that's one of our priorities that we picked up for this year. And we want to do this by expanding distribution reach, by building retail muscle, so that you have the right visibility, the right manpower in the stores to ensure that more and more of our high-value products are sold. We want to ensure that we can convert retail outlets to multi-category destinations, which is something only Xiaomi can deliver because of the smartphone times AIoT portfolio. And last but not the least, we want to set new standards in terms of channel engagement and development. And these are the 4 pillars of our offline retail strategy this year.
All right. So, what is the kind of demand outlook that you're looking at with respect to the festive season, and of course, for the overall year, the second half of this year?
To put it in very simple terms, we are viewing H2 with pragmatic positivity. Right, pragmatic because it has been a challenging, let's say, last 6 quarters for the smartphone industry, and everybody is waiting with fingers crossed for demand to start shaping up. And we're seeing enough green shoots there, and that's where the positivity comes in. One, 5G networks are rolling out, and this creates an opportunity for people to buy new devices, number one. Number two, devices like what we launched with the Redmi 12 5G at that sort of a killer pricing, again, creates a reason for people, especially in the mass market segment, to adopt 5G. Number two. Number three, you have the festive season coming up, you have the Cricket World Cup coming up. Enough reasons for people to indulge and either buy a new smartphone, upgrade the smartphone, or buy a second device, and hence we are pragmatically positive. Fingers crossed, things are shaping up well. I'm sure it can get much better.
Things are shaping up well and can get much better. But let me also ask you about the fact that today you've launched all of these devices fall under the affordable category, right? But if reports are to be believed, the mass market segment hasn't grown as much as the premium segment has. Perhaps, post-COVID purchase or revenge buying is to be credited to some extent. How are you is that going to be a bit of a challenge for you? And how are you looking at the premiumization trend hence?
The market is clearly premiumizing. There is absolutely no doubt about this. The average market ASP, which was about 12,000-13,000 pre-COVID, is now 17,000-18,000, and that's there to see. And that's driven by 2 factors. One, the sub 10,000 segment is where perhaps the impact of price rise and inflation hit the most. So that has definitely impeded demand in that segment, whereas the high end has grown because of increasing affordability offers, financing offers, as well as the growth of 5G. But under 10,000 segment continues to be a large segment because people using feature phones would need to upgrade to smartphones. You can't expect them to buy a 15,000-20,000 device overnight, and hence the 6,000 to 10,000 price band will continue to be large. And we will continue to serve that market while, of course, increasingly premiumizing our portfolio, like we have seen with the Redmi Note series this year, where the Redmi Note Pro Plus 5G had a price point going above 30,000 rupees for the first time.
Right. So one of the things that you also mentioned in your presentation is that, this is not just going to be smartphone focused, but there are a whole host of other services and product categories that you're looking at. For instance, robotics you mentioned. EVs was also one of the very interesting points that you mentioned during your presentation. What's been the update on that? Because we've been hearing for a very long time that Xiaomi is sort of planning to work on an EV. Of course, that's going to come into the China market first, but what are the India plans? Or too premature to talk about that?
Absolutely too premature. I don't even think there is any better way to answer this question. This is a project that's underway in our headquarters in Beijing, and the initial launch is slated for China. But that said, there are investments in R&D and innovation that we do across the entire spectrum, not just smartphone, but IoT, as well as various core technologies that we believe can define the future of man-machine interface. We discussed the humanoid robot, the Xiaomi Cyber One. We discussed the solid-state battery technologies, AR, VR technologies, and so on. We'll continue investing behind these and figure out which of these we can take to the mass market, following our philosophy of innovation for everyone.
Right, following your philosophy of innovating for everybody. And, we've been seeing how technology is not just limited to smartphones, but, there is a whole host of services and products to be serviced. I want to also ask you one more thing. The Indian government has been pretty, bullish about electronics exports, mobile phone exports, which actually crossed $10 billion in FY23. And Xiaomi has been building in India since 2015. How are you building on that strategy?
Look, we'll continue to double down on localization. This is stuff that we have already disclosed in the past. Today, 100% of the phones and 100% of the televisions we sell in India are proudly made in India, but we don't stop there. We continue to focus on broadening and deepening the local component ecosystem, and we are aspiring to increase our domestic value addition, especially for smartphones, by a whopping 50% over the next couple of years. And that's just on the smartphones. There are similar aggressive plans to localize the components, not just for smartphones, but also for televisions, as well as sourcing our AIoT products locally. Like what you've seen today, the Redmi Sonic Base wireless earphone 2 is a made in India wireless earphone.
Okay, so that was the exclusive conversation with Xiaomi's India's president. But with this, viewers, it's time to slip into a short break in this edition of News Now. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.